Each one of us are supposed to be the most intellectual person created by God. Management encourages people to think, to innovate, to lead, to discover, to find out solutions. It doesn't say that please follow what others have done. Try to understand what exactly is needed from your side so that you can prioritize, you can plan, you can work accordingly, and you can increase your efficiency. Good morning and welcome to the first session in Unit 2, Planning, and we are going to talk about it in the first semester B.B.A. Now, the importance of this planning is something which is very known to all of us in terms of the management concept. So how do I introduce the importance of planning to you? Now just look at the word itself. Planning is ascertaining prior to what we need to do, how to do it, and how to take forward a particular activity. It is one of the primary managerial duties. So planning is something about answering the question what to do and how to do it. Very important function as I'm talking about managerial activity here. Now, whenever we try to do some activity in our life, we need planning. We cannot just go there, stand, and assume things would have already been there in place. We need to understand that unless and until you have planned for your activities, you have planned for the steps that you need to execute, you will not be able to be successful there. So that's why I always say planning is the basic exercise in management that each one of us need to learn. Followed by, before doing something, the manager should ask for an opinion on how the work has to be done on a specific job. So the opinion formation. 99% of the time, what is the biggest mistake a manager can make? The answer to it is assumption. Every one of us assume that things are already done. Every one of us assume that we know how to solve the problem. Every one of us think that the solution is inside me. But the answer to that is no. The answer is you need to ask people what is the solution that can be executed at that particular time. So you need to go back, you need to ask the opinion, you need to form the opinion, you need to tell people what exactly you are looking for. Probably you might get a better solution from the people. So that's why a manager needs to go back to his team, sit with his team, understand what is happening around, think about it, and then execute the plan. So I always say here, execution planning is required at each and every stage. So you need to go back, sit with your team members, ask them the opinion. Is this right? Is this the way we can do it? Is there any better way of solving it? Ask the people, get the opinion, get the idea. Then you start working towards the solution. Followed by, planning is firmly correlated with discovery and creativity. What a beautiful sentence here. It is correlated to that of creativity and discovery. Each one of us are supposed to be the most intellectual person created by God. No doubt about it. We all of us have got resourcefulness filled within us. We are all born out of innovation. We have our minds running across in every single sector, every single angle possible. We know so much of things. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of opinions, perceptions, and factors. But unfortunately, we don't exercise these options. We believe that things have to be already kept on the table. So you just go there, you put in your name, you execute it, and you just leave. This is where we fail in terms of management. Management encourages people to think, to innovate, to lead, to discover, to find out solutions. It doesn't say that please follow what others have done. It says innovate, think. Is there a better solution? Is there a better way to execute it? So this is the opportunity for you. Go forward, put your best foot ahead. Think about it. Can I solve this solution? Can I take this opportunity? Can I make this moment the golden moment of the day? So which means Planning will make you understand that yes, you need to think meticulously before solving a problem. So that's why I say that the manager first has to set the goal. Manager first has to understand the situation. He needs to understand how we can solve the problem, how we can go about it, and then start building up the steps of execution here. Followed by planning is an essential step what managers take at all levels. It needs the holding on to decisions since it includes selecting a choice. So I'm going to put in some words here which is very, very important. The one word is choice. Definitely yes. We're going to talk about the word called as levels, which is also important. And we're also going to talk about this wonderful word called as performance. Now let's go with the first word here, choice. Do we have choice in our life? The answer is yes. Nobody says that you have to stick to only one thing. Life is full of choices. But unfortunately, we believe that life is always rigid in nature. So let's now move away from that thought. Now let's come to the ideology of management where you have a choice to make your decision. Would you like to take this opportunity? Would you like to exercise your option here? And if the answer is yes, life is giving you a choice. Life is giving you an option very, very clearly where it says, please exercise your ideas. Please exercise your opinions. As a manager, you need to go back. You need to sit. You need to think. You need to go back, ordinate, and tell people very, very clearly, this is what I want to do. Let us set a goal. Let us understand what we need to do here. Let us put our heads together, find out the solution, find out which can be the best choice out of the alternatives that have been given and try to execute it. Now, when I use this word levels, that is very, very important. Why? Because planning is not something only at the managerial level. Planning is not something at the top level. Planning is at every single level. Even if you have to boil water in your home, you need to plan. It is not just that the water will boil by itself. Every single activity that you do in your daily walk of life requires planning. So that's why I say planning is unilateral, it is universal in nature, it is found at every single step of our life. So at every level, planning will become a very important activity by which we will try to understand, we will try to go forward in terms of the managerial exercise. Now moving further, the importance of planning. What is planning so important? Why do we say planning is so important in life? Can it be something that can be avoided? Can it be something that can be taken lightly? The answer is no. Why? Because planning first provides you directions. It tells you how to walk, how to talk, how to do certain things. So let's understand. Assures that the objectives are certainly asserted so that they serve as a model for determining what action should be taken and in which direction. So this becomes a very, very interesting topic altogether. Now that's why I'm going to talk about this for a while here, where I'm going to tell you planning assures that the objectives are asserted. They're done in a certain way. They have been made to understand, they have been here to provide you a direction altogether. They tell you exactly how to go in that line. They tell you exactly how to take things forward in that particular way. So that's how we say here that they are serving as a model to determine what action needs to be taken and in which direction. So when I talk about direction and model, two different factors here we are talking about. Model plus the direction. What kind of example, what kind of action are you talking about? What is that framework that is running in your mind and in which direction you want to go? So if you are going to take up an exercise, let's say that you're going to join a fitness club today and you want to go on in terms of reducing your weight. So what kind of exercises are you planning to follow? What kind of fitness regime that you want to take altogether? Because everybody cannot follow the same kind of steps. You need to plan. What is your target, in which direction you want to go, and what is the purpose of joining that fitness activity? So similarly, in an organization, you need to have a framework, you need to have a model, plus that model should be driven in such a direction that it is able to achieve the objective. So that's why I say model plus direction, followed by, if the objects are well established, employees are informed of what the company has to do, what they need to do, accomplish for those purposes. Now that's exciting. Why? Because what to do, how to do it, and what is the need behind it. So now the company comes on to that level where it tells you how we need to do it. What is that you need to do? So if an employee comes to a manager and says, right sir, we will find a solution to this problem as prescribed, but how do I need to take forward? What steps should I work? What is the area I need to focus? What aspect of the problem I need to work upon? So the manager has to give an answer to this what? The steps that are required in terms of solving, followed by how do you need to take it so that you are able to accomplish the task. So planning is definitely has got a very, very inert, very deep meaning in terms of understanding this exercise, and it has to go step by step in terms of making you feel comfortable that yes, we are working relentlessly towards success. Followed by, planning decreases the chances of risk. Now, this is extremely well said, very, very exciting for all of us. Now, all of us love the word called as risk, no doubt about it. We all believe that risk is the most exciting part of life. When you take risk, you are rewarded. That's how people think, people believe all about. But in management, we have a factor, we have a X factor altogether. We say that lesser the risk, it's better. Nobody wants to take a risk which is unknown. Nobody just wants to take a risk to show themselves that they are superheroes there. But everybody wants to take a calculated risk. So that's where planning comes, which will actually permit the manager to look forward to predict the changes by determining prior tasks to be completed and planning the notes which will deal with the changes and the unpredictable values. So what does a manager need to do here? The manager needs to calculate the steps, calculate the work that has to be done step by step prior. He needs to understand what are all the steps that have to be done, that has to be calculated, that has to be taken all over so that we can avoid the risk. At the last moment, the manager should not raise up his hands or raise his eyebrows in surprise and say, "Whoa, I did not know about it." That will not be accepted at any point of time. What does planning say? Take your time, prioritize your work, go step by step, make people understand this factor that each and every step is important and it has to be executed the way it has to be done. Moment you start planning it, you start taking up with the flow, automatically the risk starts coming down, and that's where the manager will be definitely on a good position to go back and tell his team that yes, our project is risk-free, we will deliver the results as expected moving forward. Now, planning decreases overlapping and wasteful activities. What we do in most of the time in management or in any activity is that we keep on doing things that is not actually adding any value or meaning. We love to repeat things. We feel that it is all about work. Whenever you're assigned to do a work from 9 to 5, what do you understand about this? You only understand that there are 8 hours in a day. What do I do in that 8 hours? I keep on doing the same thing monotonously without even asking the question, am I adding value to the company? So that's where planning comes into picture. Planning lays the foundation of organizing activities and purposes with the branches, with the departments, with the verticals are you working. What are you exactly adding value to the vertical, to the department, to the organization? What is your plan of action for today? Go back, think, and ask yourself 100 times, have I sincerely utilized that 8 hours of day in a productive manner? If the answer is yes, then yes, you have achieved a wonderful thing, wonderful task today. If the answer is no, that means we need to go back, think. Do we have that time? Can we afford wasting time at any point of thing? So that will not be accepted at all. Since planning guarantees precision in understanding, many a times the problem here is that we don't understand the problem. We think that we know. We assume. We know that the variable factors are involved. We know that there are some fixed factors. But we are not able to go further and clearly understand the problem. This is exactly what happens to most of the students. Moment they see the question paper, moment they start reading few lines of the question, they think that they know the answer to the question. They have not read the question paper completely. They just want to make their choices in random because they want to finish the exam and walk out of the hall. But had the student taken the time in terms of reading the question paper precisely, he would be able to answer much better. He would be able to make a choice even more effectively. So that's exactly what management says. Make your choice wise. Try to take your time. Try to understand what exactly is needed from your side so that you can prioritize, you can plan, you can work accordingly, and you can increase your efficiency. With that, let's move further and try to understand about the encouragement towards innovative ideas. Always people ask this question, which is that one company in the world that you would like to work? People might give you varied answers. Somebody might say Google, somebody might say Microsoft, somebody might say Tesla, somebody might even say that, sir, I want to work with IBM, I want to work with Coca-Cola, I want to work with Nike. Now the list is endless. But what is more important is, how do these organizations extract work? How do these organizations make their employee think? Why? Because many times we think that the workload that is being assigned to us is something just like a day-to-day work. It's like, a labor kind of a work that we are doing it all together. We are not applying our brains. We just think that it is all about stereotypically doing that job, again and again doing that same Excel, Word, PowerPoint, some office work. At the end of the day, it's 5 o'clock, I'll go back home. But that's not what organization wants out of you. The organization wants innovation. They want you to think smartly, act smartly, and do the work even more in a smarter way. So that's why I say that the primary function of management is that how do you take the approach? How do you make your employee think differently about the situation that is given? And if you can do that, you have done a fantastic job. And that's why most of the people like to stick on to those innovative companies which give the employee the freedom, the space to go forward, think, put their ideas together, and they will be able to run the show even more better. So that's why I always say that this is the right opportunity. This is the right time. Put your foot forward, start thinking, start innovating. Don't look at a project in a challenging way. Look at the project in a way that how you can overcome the challenge, how you can build your ideas together. So I always say that planning is the exercise that you need to understand. Put your innovative thinking hats on. That's how you will be able to solve problems better. You will be able to do things better. So innovation is a very big function involved in planning. So don't forget about it. Next time when you get a chance to be a part of the project, think innovatively, bring your intellectual potential at the best. Followed by planning aids decision making. Everybody loves to make decisions. Probably right from the day when we are born to the day when we are going to call it as the last day on this planet Earth. Every single day we need to make some decision. It might be about our life, it might be about our work, it might be about our personal things or about our family, whatever is that. But you need to keep on making decision. You cannot say that I will run away from decision making. I don't like that. You cannot be like that. It is something which is very, very important for all of us. So that's why I say it encourages the manager to look into future and make a decision. So inside an organization, a manager is constantly pressurized by this decision-making activity. You cannot say no at all. Manager has to take decision at each and every step that is getting involved. So he has to come back and say that, yes, I'm ready to take this decision at this juncture so that we will be able to achieve result. So that's why I have to say here, manager has to assess each and every option and pick the most viable plan. So he has to find out whether this will work or not, and then he has to take a decision. Then he has to take, okay, this is the best way, this is how I want to go further. So that's why I say that it is very important that you assess each of the options and then you take the most viable plan here. With this, I would like to come to the end of today's session. And I would like to thank each one of you for joining me on this session in terms of learning about planning. I hope and believe that all the resources and the inputs that have been shared through this session will definitely add value to you, both in terms of theory and also in your daily walk of life. In the coming session, we will be talking more about the features of planning. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.